Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this edition of Follow Suit Fashion Unfiltered. And to all my first-time guests, I'm going to give you a brief synopsis of what Follow Suit is all about. Follow Suit is a mantra, meaning to follow the suit. And as you follow it, you're going to come to realize that the suit is a role model and a mentor whose purpose is to give guidance to the young men of this community as well as to society. And it is my purpose and goal to salute and honor some of the individuals who not only follow suit, but they actually put the suit on and they wear it well. Hence the point, my guest today, Mr. Jonathon Gates. How you doing, brother?
Good afternoon. How are you today, sir?
I'm all right. I'm doing well. All praises. I know you're a man with a very high spiritual level, so we're going to say all praises right out the gate.
All praises due. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
And I appreciate you coming through. I know you have a busy schedule. And
you're never too busy to do good things.
That's right.
So, because if you do good things with good people, good things come back to you. That's what I was taught.
Yes, sir. All day.
Yes, sir.
So, the show is called Follow Suit Fashion.
Yes.
So,
well, when you said you was going to bring me on, I said, okay, let me look in the closet. What can I do to come up to your level? So that's all. I'm just here to try to follow suit.
Yeah, you following suit well. You've been following suit for a while. I watched you. I know you got it. So let's start off with who inspired you with getting sharp? As you know, we come from that era. We say getting sharp.
Well, my grandfather. I used to watch my grandfather growing up and my uncles in South Carolina. And if you go back and look at all the videos and the movies, young people we was always sharp. You watch a man go out the building when he get in the street, you understood what it means. I used to watch my grandfather walk out, even if he was going to the corner store, he made sure that he was looking good. And
right.
he was that icon for me to watch. Besides on TV, just to watch black men dress up and treat women how they should be treated.
Yes, sir. So do you have a favorite color when it comes to suits? Or just color that you like to wear on a regular basis when you're getting dressed up?
I just, whatever I'm feeling that day. I love blue. I'm a good charcoal gray guy, with something that you can match different colors with, right, that bounce off. Always a good black suit or brown. You can't go wrong. I think every man in your closet should have a black suit, a blue suit, and a brown suit.
That's right.
And with those three right there, you can make magic happen.
That's right. That's the formula.
Yes, sir.
So you got on a nice looking tie there. Some nice colors to it, a nice pattern to it. So do you prefer the traditional tie or the bow tie? Which one do you like better?
Well, I've been watching people rock bow ties, but I'm really still, I'm a tie. Let me sit in that mirror and tie it. And then I watch my grandson watch me try to tie a tie today because he's at the house. So this was passed down, me watching my grandfather, my brothers and other. So I'm a tie guy, but I do wear bow ties too.
Okay.
And what I look for in a tie is, when I see a tie, I go, I've never seen one like that before. If I see something in a bow tie that catches my eye, I'm like, I want to make that statement, so I always try to get something nobody else is doing.
Right. All right. So it's fair to say that's like one of your, when you're getting dressed, that's one of your signature pieces for making a statement will be the tie?
The tie is the piece. The tie and the shoes what makes your whole outfit pop.
There you go. I see you got a nice pair of reptiles right there. So you're a reptile man by heart?
Just some good shoes, man.
Just some good shoes?
Just some good shoes. Don't have to be reptile, but I have a couple pairs, but just some good shoes, good comfortable shoes, good, because my grandfather taught me if you got some good shoes on your feet, you always have a good platform to stand on.
That's right. They gave you some good advice. And
yes,
I see you've been taking that advice and heeding it well for all these years. Because,
yes,
I've been watching you.
Okay.
I've been a young guy standing there watching you for a lot of years.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
So, as I said, the show was called Follow Suit, and we're here to honor some of the men who put in the work in the community and inspiring and role models and coaches and mentors and father figure. And you check all those boxes. So let's go down that box, and we're gonna and that's drove into Jonathon Gates.
Okay.
So let's start. I know you coached before. You coached young men, right?
I coached young men. I came back home. To be transparent, I was just one of those guys who, when I went away to school, I wasn't into the books. I was into the women. I was into the club, and so I forgot about doing the education piece. So when I came back home, I was like, now what can I do? Do I go to the streets, or do I do something to make me feel good about me? So I went and I was driving by Almont Park, and I started, and they were coaching. They was bringing coaches out, so I knew football because I played football. And I said, "Can I join?" He said, "Yeah." So I was invited to be a coach for the Mattapan Patriots, and during that time, I see young men that I coached back then in '84, '85. They got kids now, and they bring them out and say, "That's Coach Gates," and they still talk to you that way because you are, like you said, you're an extension of a family when you coach Pop Warner football or basketball or track. You're an extension of that family, and if you get those kids' minds right and you teach them something, they'll remember you as you get older. They'll come up on you. So not only was I with Mattapan Patriots, I also went to English High School. I helped coach there. I went to the Burke and helped coach Boo Rice when he took the team to the state championship.
Yeah, great guy there, Boo Rice, a Boston legend.
Right. So
yeah, he's on that list. So getting him up here soon.
He's on that list. So yeah, so these guys, it kept me involved in football. Then I coached semi-pro football. So I was just trying to make sure our kids have a way out.
Right.
They have a way out, and sports is a good way to get young black men a way out.
Right. Definitely.
Yes, sir.
So then from coaching, what else do you know? Because I know there's the thing that really touched me. We're not going to get in what everybody knows you for yet. We're going to say that for the coup de grace, as they would say. So there was another thing that touched me, like I said, because I know you're an activist. You're a very strong person who's about the community. So I always look to you as an activist for the community. And what I loved about you when you started the prayer in the park.
Now that started, and I'll tell you how I was on a radio station. I was on Touch 106.1 FM with Charles Clemens, Brother Charles, and we was there, and that was at the same time Trayvon Martin got killed in Florida.
Right.
And everybody was like, "Yo, we got to go march. We got to go march. We got to go march." And I didn't speak on it. And I didn't speak on the radio station for a whole week. I didn't talk about let's go march. I didn't say follow me. I didn't do any of that. I was in this grocery store, and this older lady who listened to my radio, she's like, "You know I love you, but I think you're wrong on this." I said, "What, ma'am?" "I have not once heard you tell everybody, let's go to Florida and let's go march for Trayvon Martin." I said, "Ma'am, there's a reason behind my madness." I said, "Listen to the show tomorrow at 3 o'clock, and I'll tell everybody why."
Right.
So I get on the air, and I said, "So let me get this right. You all are upset with me as a black man because I said I haven't said we should go to Florida and march." There was 3 people killed with a baby in Mattapan.
Yes.
And you didn't want to march there.
Right.
How can I go to Florida to clean up their house and our house is messy?
Right.
You want to march in Mattapan? I'll march in Mattapan. You want to march in Dorchester? I'll march. But I can't go to Florida when we're still hurting here.
That's right.
I said, "You know what? I don't even think you all care that much. This 2 men, a woman, and a baby got killed. I'll be in Franklin Park in the front part of the zoo at 6:15 today. And I dare you to meet me there for prayer."
All praises.
And that's how it started. And we kept doing prayer in the park on Tuesdays and Fridays.
Yes, sir. And I appreciate you for doing that. Like
Thank
I
you.
said, that touched me a lot when you started that. That took it to a whole nother level with you, because I know you a long time. I'm gonna let everybody know I call you Booby. So when I first came home, because I was once incarcerated, and I remember you starting off, and everybody was saying, "Jonathan Gates, Jonathan Gates." And I was like, "Who the hell is this Jonathan Gates in Boston? Got Boston on lock." And then I said, "Oh, that's my man.
That's Booby."
That's Booby." So we're going to spin it back to Booby, who was once the bouncer at the door at the Ropes Club.
Yes, sir. And before then, now, when I came home, I also started DJing at Lane's Lounge.
At Lane's Lounge.
And when I was DJing at Lane's Lounge, I was upstairs in the ceiling DJing, and a fighter break out in the club, and they couldn't put the people out. So now I would leave the DJ booth.
You would have to go put the people out.
Put the people out.
I remember those days.
Go back and DJ, had to go put the people out. So about a month later, the owner goes, "Won't you just stay on the floor? You can get me another DJ." I said, "Yeah, but you're paying me good money." He said, "Forget that. I'll pay you way more money. You run this for me." I said, "Really?" And I said, "Okay." I said, "The problem is, with most people, we think doing that job, you have to be how physical you are. No, you have to be able to treat people like human beings.
Right.
And you got to, if you can let a man walk away with his dignity, he'll respect you enough tomorrow to come back and apologize. A real man.
Right.
You know, there's going to be some people that's going to want to try you. Then okay, then you have to try him. But then if you go, listen, my man, and you give him his dignity, and you don't do all that stomping and all, you let somebody walk away with their pride. A real man will come back to you and say, man, you know what? I was really wrong. I apologize. And I learned that. I learned that from, I used to work out with this Irish guy, old Irish guy in South Boston, boxing. And he was like, yeah, you big and strong. But he said, I bet you I'll whip you. This old dude said, you're too angry. You're too angry. You have to get peace inside of you before you can help anybody else.
Right.
And that's what I learned. And when I started bouncing, so everybody that worked for me, I was like, no, that's not what we do. And the same thing I was talking about, the movie Roadhouse, he said, no, that's not what we do. Be nice. Just be nice.
Right.
Then if someone try you, you make it quick and get it over with, and just still give them their dignity. So I started at the Rose Club, Lane's Lounge, bouncing, and then went to Conway's in Mattapan Square there, and then was doing the 9 lands down, doing the Roxy, and then ended up at the Rose Club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know that. I know the story that you used to let me cut the line all the time because I was going through something. I had legal issues, and I was coming from out of state.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got there, I used to come right to the front, and you say, "Everybody, get out the way, let him in. He got something to do. He got someplace he got to be." You used to always let me in. I appreciate you.
And I'll tell you why, because you had a conversation with me.
Yes.
And you told me, listen, man, okay, we had a conversation. See, respect goes a long way.
Right.
And if these young people, if you understand that, if you give somebody a conversation and you had that conversation, we don't have to have it again. We all set. We had that conversation, so it was good.
Yeah. From there, they started the amateur night comedy.
So
then you took the mic.
See,
the rest is history.
There it goes. It started by when I started there was a white comedian by the name of Dick Doherty. Dick Doherty was bringing comedy to the Rose Club. White comedians, because there was not too many black comedians doing it the way we're at right now.
Right.
So Dick Doherty brought it, and he got caught. Cancer caught him. So he was like, "Yo, you really good with people. I watch how you interact with people. I'm gonna be out for a while. Just bring the comics on, and I'll pay you XY besides what you." I said, "Okay." And I remember the first week it was smooth. The comics did thing. It was funny. The second week, one of the comics wasn't that good.
Right.
And black people, when they're drinking, they're like, "Boo, boo." I'm like, come on, y'all, cut it out. One dude in his right mind said, "Man, F that comic and F you." I'm one of them kids that grew up on the walls on Almar Park. We could snap.
Right.
I was like, "F me." Your mother did. And then and we just kept going and going. And every week it would just get more. And one of the white comedians said, "You should be a comic because you're wit, you're smart, you're confident." I said, "I don't know nothing about comedy." So from that point on, when he said it, I started reading. I watched up Red Fox, Flip Wilson, Bill Cosby, Rudy Mae Moore, Pigmeat Markhams, Steve, Wild Man Steve, and I just started watching. Eddie Murphy was killing the scene right there. Richard Pryor, always been a Richard Pryor fan.
So you became a student.
I became a student of the game. I understood what it was to tell a joke. So you have to, a joke consists of a premise, a line, and a punchline. So you have to understand which is which. So you have to inside the jokes. I tell people I really don't tell jokes. I tell stories. I'm more like a storyteller. I don't have those one-liners, but I have those stories. And in that stories, there's more little punchlines until you get to the end. So I started from that point on doing the amateur night. And I said, you know what, I can do this. And I went down to New York for a while, because we didn't have no place for black comedians in this city that they allow us to be on that same level. So I'd get on a Greyhound, Trailways, and go down to New York, go to some of the comedy clubs and watch them and get a little bit of seasoning, come back home. Still couldn't work here. I was like, I don't believe in this. I said, well, let me start my own. So I was Tuesday nights. I told the owner, I said, I know you get the white guy on Wednesday. Give me Tuesday night. Let me go $2 Tuesdays. And that's what I was doing. I was bringing people in for $2. You can laugh. And that's how Tuesday night started, for $2 Tuesdays. And it just grew. And then from that point, the Rose Club became the spot to be at.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Well, it definitely became the spot, and it took you to levels, and I'm proud of you. I seen your career. You have a great career.
Yeah, I've been blessed. I've been blessed. I was able to follow some good footsteps out of Boston.
Right.
You know what I mean? Drew Frazier started before me, so he showed me some ways and some things to do, and I was blessed enough to get into situations, because I remember after the Def Jam tours and stuff out there, you would see all the headliners that people know. When we go out, we get paid, but they get paid more.
Right.
And I was like, now why is that? And I've been watching, and I said, well, maybe you need to create your own. So I started this thing called the Black Comedy Explosion. My first show was in New Bern, North Carolina, because I was in Charlotte, Raleigh. I was in Raleigh, North Carolina, and some people came to the show, and the people came to the show, and I was like, hello? So some people came to the show, but they drove 3 hours. So, like down south, they got these, they have big cities and they got small cities. They say they have nothing coming to their town.
Right.
So I kept in touch with them. So I said, you know what? Find me a space. Let me put a show together. And I did a show in New Bern, North Carolina. We were supposed to do one show because the people had nothing to do. Groverfield Middle School in New Bern held 1,200 people. We were supposed to do one show, end up doing 5 shows that weekend.
Oh, wow, nice.
And that was the first time I said, okay, this thing can work. So I came back to Boston and said, I need to do this for more black comics, because there's a lot of funny comics. So at that time, Kevin Fleetwood and Richard Dinkins, they were doing comedy. They had a once a month or once every other month at the Comedy Connection in Faneuil Hall up on the second floor.
Yes, sir.
So they were doing it. And I went down there, they put me on. My man Talent was hosting. They would bring Talent in to host. And they were doing it, and they were doing it, and I think they had a falling out with the owner. And they had a falling out with the owner. So I was like, okay. So they stopped doing the shows. They stopped doing the shows. So I reached out. I went to go see a show, and it was a white comedian that I liked, that was funny. So I went to the show, and I remember the owner, and he was at the show. He was like, yeah, I remember you. You're real funny. I said, thank you very much. And he was like, yo, man, do I miss those shows on them Sunday nights? I said, well, we can put this together. You put up the money, I get the talent. We split the profits.
There you go.
And he said, what? I said, trust me. I said, trust me, let's do it. So it started there, but before I did that, I'm one of them dudes, if me and you, if I watch you doing something and you was doing it well and somebody took it from you, I'll go, excuse me, T, somebody offered me to do what you was doing 2 years ago. Will you be offended by me doing that? Yes or no?
Right.
Because that's how I was brought up to ask you, because we're friends. I'm just not gonna run, because at the end of the day, I still want me and you to be friends. So I called Talent in New York, who was hosting. I said, yo, I got this opportunity, and I know that you was with those cats. Do you mind? Talent's like, man, go ahead and do it. Just make sure you book me. I go, matter of fact, when I book it, you'll be the first show.
There it is.
And that's how, and me and Talent's been friends now 29 going on 30 years.
Yeah, so it's about respect.
Yeah,
and how you treat people and everything. So let's
Sunday nights. Every Sunday night.
Sunday nights. I remember that. I've been to some of them good shows. I've been there.
Every Sunday night, it would be the place to be.
So let's spin into Jonathon Gates, the father.
Okay.
Because like I said, we're here to inspire some of the youth and stuff. So let's talk a little bit about Jonathon Gates, the father, because I know coaching football, you're sort of a father figure as well.
Yes,
so, let's talk about a little bit of some of the message and things that you'd like to inspire and put into the youth, seeing that you are a father, so I know it starts at home first.
Right. I have 5 kids. I have 4 boys and a girl. And one of the reasons I never left Boston, because a lot of comics say, oh, you should move to LA. You should move to New York. You should do that. Everybody who's watching this, who's following suit, will remember the streets of Boston, it's a cruel animal.
Yes, it is. That's why we're here. That's what inspired me to start.
It's a cruel animal. So I said, I could still be funny from Boston while the streets don't take my sons. So I stayed home for that reason. I stayed in Boston, tried to be a guy that when somebody goes, oh, that's Jonathan Gates' son.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So I try to put myself at a level that respect everybody. So when it came to my kids, they said, no, those are good people. So I didn't leave the city because of that fact. And every time I talk to my sons, I try to teach my sons, there's ways to talk to people, there's ways to react with people. You got to treat people like you want to be treated. You have to carry yourself in a way. Like when I was doing Pop Warner football, I wouldn't let them say yes or no to me. It's yes sir or no sir.
Right.
Yes sir or no sir. That's what we're doing. We're doing the respectful thing. I don't care what you do to your mom and daddy at home outside this wall, but in here, every coach you talk to is yes sir, no sir. Every lady that walks around here is yes ma'am, no ma'am. So we try to emulate what we as black culture should be, how we should react to each other.
Yes.
You know, and one thing I try to instill, when I see you, you see me. So it's this thing I want us to do. If I'm walking down the street, I look at somebody that looks like me, talks like me, interact with me. If I can see you eye to eye, why can't I just acknowledge that you're there? So what I'll do when I see you, T, we don't even have to speak. I just nod my head.
Exactly.
And so we knew that's hello.
Right.
And I keep telling them, I said, you have no idea what that simple hello might mean to somebody who's going through something.
Right.
So, you know, that's one thing we have to instill in just loving each other. We get back to loving each other, we'll be so much better.
That's right. And has any of them young men ever came back to you?
What do you mean?
That you have coached in the years past and, you know, thanked you for some of the advice and some of that which you instilled in them?
Like I told you, listen, I'm still involved with the Mattapan Patriots. I watch guys that I coach bring their kids back because they understood what the program would be doing because I'm still involved.
So it's been being paid forward. Your legacy's been paid forward.
It's been paid forward. There's a lot of young cats, like you say, man, they're in their 40s now and they got kids and I see them in clubs. They still call me coach.
Right.
They don't say booby.
That's when you know you made an impact on their life.
You made an impact in life. And yes, and that makes me feel good when I watch people that I coach come back and shake my hand and they're doing well in business and they got their own family. That makes you feel good. And when you start thinking about, man, all that time I put in, it works. Right. And I tell everybody, if you save one child, it's worth every hour that you put into it. Right. There it is. That's what, like I said, that's what we're here for. Follow suit, fashion unfiltered. Yeah. We're trying to get the young men dressed for success. Follow suit, and I'm here to honor and salute some of the people that's been doing it. And Jonathan Gates, like I said, you check all the boxes: father figure, a coach, a mentor, and at the top of the list, a hell of a comedian. Thank you very much. So I want you to look in that camera and tell the people what you got going on, what you're doing right now, and anything you got coming up. Well, right now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just blessed enough as on October the 8th, I turned 58 years young. I've been doing comedy now going on 32 years. Just celebrated my birthday every October. I always do something in my mother's name. And that was Thursday. We did a F Cancer comedy show and party. Great time. Just celebrated my birthday Friday night. So right now what I got coming up is a lot of prayer and love from each and every one of you. On Wednesday, October the 13th, I got to have a knee replacement. So I'll be down for a while, but during that time, the Black Comedy Explosion at Slades will still be running. So I'll be doing things behind the scenes. Okay. So I've been grooming other comics to host the room while I'm down. Okay. So it's every Wednesday night at Slades Bar and Grill. Doors open at 7. Showtime's at 9 o'clock. And look, you can get there early. We're still doing reservations. We're doing birthdays, whatever it is, we got you. So right now, that's what I'm doing till I get this health back together. And one of my goals is to make sure we get our people out to vote. We have to get out to vote because we got so lazy in the preliminaries. We have an Asian woman and an Arab woman running for mayor now. We had 2 black candidates that we didn't get enough votes that they should have been facing off at each other. So we didn't vote, so that's our fault. Yeah. After Barack Obama, we thought the game was over. It is not, it's just beginning. And so now we have 2 women running, so we have to get out the vote, the ones that affect you and your children. And your vote counts. If you don't think your vote counts, stop listening to these idiots that say my vote don't count. Let me tell you how voting works. You'll never know the person sitting in that seat, but here's how it works. Say if you was on Bow Street and there's 10 houses on Bow Street. There's a pothole and you want to get fixed. You call City Hall. An intern will take your name and number and your address down. They'll go in the file, not to see the pothole. They'll look on Bow Street. There's 10 houses, and they want to see how many people on this street vote. Now, if you're the only one on your street that vote, that pothole will never get fixed. But they pull Bow Street up and they watch how many people on that street vote, because it can affect their job. So if you don't affect them by not voting, they don't care about you. So every time you vote, it makes sense. So every time people tell me voting don't count, I'll say you're crazy. You have to understand what it's for.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I really want us to get out in November and vote.
Yes, sir. We got to make our vote count.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we're going to wrap the show up. And like I said, I appreciate you coming through. You know, we have a busy schedule, and it's my honor to have you on the show. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, the great comedian Jonathon Gates, a.k.a. Booby, if you knew him as long as I did. You know, he's, like I said, he's a role model, mentor, and a father figure, and he's here on Follow Suit to get you young men to follow suit.
And I'll say this, man, I'm so proud. You should interview yourself, everything that you've been in, and you're standing up and doing the right thing. So I'll say this to you. Either follow suit or stay in the closet. Get out the way so he can keep making differences in these young men's lives. Don't be the hanger that holds these kids back. Be the dry cleaner to clean them up so they can make a difference in our city.
I like that. I'm going to have to steal that part.
You can steal it. You can have
Follow
that.
suit or stay in the closet.
Follow suit or stay in the closet. I love you too, brother.
All right, that's it. We're going to wrap up the show. Peace. We love y'all. We're gone.
God bless.